Good day, family. IOBA. My name is TC. All right, so I'm going to talk a little bit more about Kamala Harris and her speech at Tyree Nichols' funeral, right? Because, I think I left this part out the other day when I spoke about this shit. Kamala got on television during her campaign when she was trying to run for president and said that she wasn't going to do anything that only benefits black people. You think I'm going to do anything that only benefits black people? No. That's what she said in an interview. And then she turned right around and go to the church where Tyree Nichols' family is laying him to rest and get up there and give an empty-ass speech and talk about how she thinks that the George Floyd crime legislation should be passed when we know it's not going anywhere. That thing is dead. Ain't going to be nothing for Joe Biden to sign. The George Floyd crime legislation is dead. And if you don't believe me it's dead, check out Democracy Now! And that speech that the Congressional Black Caucus gave after talking to Harris and Biden. Check out that clip. It's short. You can handle it. It's on Democracy Now! Where Cory Booker even admitted, and he was standing in the scene, in the shot, when the Congressional Black Caucus was talking. Cory Booker was in the shot. He was there. Raphael Warnock was there. A couple of other ones. The Congressional Black Talkers, And they talked a bunch of gibberish like they had been, talking to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, but they didn't get no promises, nothing new from them. Because the George Floyd crime bill, it ain't going anywhere. Kamala Harris knew that before she got her ass up on that podium with Al Sharpton in that church. She knew it. It's been 2 years. If it was going to pass, it would have passed already. That says just how fake and phony and disingenuous she is. And just how fake and phony the Democrats are. So on the one side, you got a bunch of racist Republicans and confused black conservatives. And on the other hand, you got a bunch of fake Democrats. Fake-ass Democrats. And old black Democrats who still vote Democrat because they don't know anything better to do. So if you're enlightened, then you can't in good conscience vote for either one of these parties, can you? So that's where I'm at. That's where I am. I can't vote for either one of these parties. I can't vote for Democrats because they offer me nothing for my vote. And I can't vote for Republicans because all they're about is war, destruction, and blowing up the world. It's a tough situation to be in, man. It's a catch-22, almost. You damned if you do and damned if you don't. If you try to go in as a third-party candidate, you ain't going no motherfucking where. You ain't going nowhere because the two-party system shuts out everything else in this country. Shuts out any alternative ideas. So we just keep rolling along, doing the same stuff year in and year out. They're arguing about the same shit since I was a teenager in politics. The same stuff. And black people keep dying. And politicians keep making empty-ass speeches. Until 2 weeks pass when the next one come along. You know what I mean? The next one actually did come along. They shot a black man a double amputee. I talked about that already. So the next killing is already, it's probably one going on right now as I speak that ain't nobody gonna hear about. You see. Don't fall for that shit. And by the way, not a lot of people came to see Reverend Al and Kamala Harris at the church. It was like half empty, that thing. I know it was a funeral and all that, but you would have thought, since the vice president of the United States, the arguably the second most powerful person in the country, come to town, you'd think everybody would be there to see her. Maybe people are more enlightened than I'm giving them credit for. Because the church, nobody came to see Al and Kamala. They had the captive audience there, you know what I'm saying, and the people that was there for the photo op, but maybe it was closed, I don't know. It just looked like the place was half empty. Didn't even look like that big a church. But I digress. The point is, don't listen to any of that bullshit from Kamala Harris and Joe Biden thinking that they're going to make shit better for black people in this country. Trust and believe, they're not. What we got to do is, I want to say, harden our defenses. Turn inward, because at the end of the day, we all we got. I'm going to go ahead and say stop focusing so much on politics and hoping that politicians are going to make our lives better and give us real equality, because they're not. You have to somehow, some way, make yourself relevant in this country, or make yourself relevant again in this country. I would say, we could do it with our athletes and entertainers, but our athletes and entertainers, they're a lost cause, most of them. They bought and paid for, and they ain't doing nothing that's going to disrupt their little lifestyle, and they just trying to feather their own nest. So we can't look at them anymore either for anything substantial in the way of changing the way this country operates. That's going to have to come from grassroots people. That's going to have to come from grassroots people, because it ain't coming from Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. Our liberation ain't coming from them. It's going to have to come from us, quietly and by degrees. That's how it's going to have to happen. But sitting around hoping that people in D.C. are going to feel your pain, not if it's going to cost them money in order to change it, in order to alleviate that pain, or votes. No. You have to take it. Like that man said in that movie, what was it called? The Departed. You have to take it. You waiting around. You want power. You want material things in this life. You want respect. Respect isn't given. You have to take it. And you do that by uniting your people, getting on code, staying on code. What is the code? To me, the so-called code that people talk about is the unwritten set of laws, rules, and regulations among a people that are understood. They don't have to be written down, but they understood. It's unwritten guidelines shared among a group of people that are totally understood by that group of people. And that code is for the benefit of that group of people. Those rules and regulations and things you do and don't do, all that understood stuff, that's shared for the betterment of that group of people. That's the code. That's the code. In my book. So, That's what we got to do. Stay on code. We don't have to let a whole bunch of people go. Probably, 50, 60% of black people ain't going to get it. We're just going to have to let them go in the direction they're going in because they're lost. But for the people that truly understand and want better for their kids and grandkids and stuff, want their kids and grandkids to have some respect and live on their feet instead of dying on their knees, well, you're going to have to come with us, mentally, of course, and get on code and stop worrying about politicians because they're not there to make things any better for you. And you got to be practical. I heard somebody say the other day, I heard a lady, she was debating Dr. Umar Johnson. And she was saying, Dr. Umar Johnson said, name me one thing that black people do in this country that doesn't involve white people at all, at any level. Was a question to that effect. Well, there's absolutely nothing in this country that you can do that won't involve white people in some respect. She said, we can build and we can create and we can do this. You still got to buy the shit to build and create with. And the white people own most of that shit, if not all of it. And so at some point, my point is, at some point, you're going to have to deal with them. But you're going to have to deal with them from a position of strength. You can't deal with any other group of people from a position of weakness. But first, you got to build that strength and that respect. You got to build that strength and that respect. And we doing it. We doing it. I don't want to say it ain't happening. But there needs to be a group of people out there pushing the progress along, weeding out the people that ain't really on board and really don't understand what code we using. Weed those people out and just keep on pushing. Once you attain a certain level of strength and unity among that group of people, then you start negotiating with other groups for things that you need to make your group better. But at the same time, just like them, there's certain groups we don't fuck with. Because there are certain groups that don't fuck with us, no matter how much money we got. Some things we just have to improvise and create and do without. Because certain people we're not going to deal with. But the people that we do business with, we negotiate from a position of strength created by how we think of ourselves and what we show of ourselves. I hope that made sense. I hope everybody take a little something away from that. But after you get like where I'm at on the downside of life, you start to think you got to get your ideas out there. People got to be in a position where they can't say that nobody ever told them these things. Because there's so much out there. When I talk to somebody that's like in their 30s, in their 40s, even 50s even. When I talk to somebody and there's certain basics that they don't know, you know, that kind of fucks with me a little bit. There's certain things you should know by the time you a certain age if you black and live in this country. So I'm trying to get some of that knowledge out there. All right? Don't depend on the politicians. Depend on yourself as a collective. Build yourself up and your people up. A strong power base. Stay on code. That's it for now, you guys. I'm going to close it off right there. Hit the subscribe button on your way out. Hit the subscribe button on your way out. I'm trying to get up to 500 subs so I can see if I should continue. You know what? Fuck that. I'm going to continue whether I get the subs or not. I just want to get my ideas out there. See y'all in the next one. Peace.